Hello, Tai the Taste Queen here with another YouTube video. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you like my previous videos. Remember to tell me if there's anything you want me to do, if there's anything you want me to say or to put on the videos. Let me know in the comments or on my Instagram, Shady Bearded Lady. So today, look at this beautiful face before we go on. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. She's beautiful. Look at my earrings. I made them myself with ramen and resin. Ramen and resin. Anyway, so this video, even though I look so pretty, you're not going to see me the whole time because we are going to do a TOEFL reading question. I'm going to go to the TOEFL website right now, and then we're going to do a video. I'm going to make a video of myself doing the test and I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to talk about all the information that's on there, all the questions. So if you go to ets.org, that is the official website for TOEFL, they have these amazing practice tests you can do for free. So you can practice reading, listening, everything you want. You can practice on the website. There's this very easy platform. It's very easy. I'm not promoted, by the way. I should be, but it's very easy. You just follow the links, click, click, click. You will see how I do this, and then you can do it in the same way. I'm only going to do one question for now. If you want me to do more in the future, I will. But before you continue the video, I will tell you when I'm going to do that, so you can still watch a little bit. Before you watch me doing and going through the reading question, please, 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 try to do it yourself, right? Don't just watch the video because then I'm giving you answers to something you could have done by yourself. So please go to the website, ets.org, try the practice test and the IBT practice test and do the reading question 1. It's about people in Africa. So do that and then come and watch the video. If you don't understand why you're wrong, I'm going to explain as I go why it's right. I'm going to tell you what's the question type. If you don't know the question types, go to my video. Ooh, it's so perky today. Go to my video about reading question types and you can see, but I will also explain as we go along. So you can watch here, you can watch there. So today we're going to do that. I'm trying not to say cause anymore. I heard it's inappropriate because that is really good practice for you. So please go ahead, watch this video, but before you do, go to the website, try it yourself, pause me, and then come back to me. All right, that is what we're going to do today. I hope it is. You understand what I mean. If you don't understand how I'm going through this, let me know in the comments, let me know on my Instagram. I'm talking a lot, I'm saying too much, my earrings are so heavy, but anyway, that is it. Let's go and do the question. Okay, so here we are at the reading section on the ets.org website. So this is the official TOEFL website and it's so valuable. You can do these practice tests for free and you can also buy extra ones. You can just buy them and pay for them online. This is the free one. I'm doing the free one. So you don't have to pay for anything and neither do I. Okay, let's go. So this is the reading section. It is about agriculture, iron, and the Bantu peoples. I'm going to go down a little bit, and then you can pause the screen and read. If that is your strategy, to read before or to scan, right? To scan before the questions, you can pause and scan. I'm not going to do that. Let me move down a little bit so you can take screenshots. Like I said in my other video, I'm not going to do that because I usually read it as I do the questions, because technically you will read the whole passage if you just do the questions from number 1 to number 10. Right, so there's the reading section. Let's click on next and go to the first question. And the first question is, according to paragraph 1, why do researchers doubt that agriculture developed independently in Africa? So according to that tells me this is a factual information question, a detailed question, right? So let's look at this quickly. Why do they doubt that agriculture developed independently in Africa. Independently means, how did farming start by itself without help from any other places or without any influences of any kind? So they doubt that. So let's look. If you're not done yet, just pause the video. But if you're ready, let me show you. Here they say agriculture seems to have reached these people from the Near East. That means it didn't come from them, it came from the Near East. Since the first domesticated crops were millets and sorghums, whose origins are not African but West Asian. Once the idea of planting diffused, Africans began to develop their own crops, such as certain varieties of rice, and they demonstrated blah blah blah. Right, so that means they didn't start by themselves. The first crops came from Asia. So let's see if we can find something. There's Asia. So then let's go look at this one. The earliest examples of cultivated plants discovered in Africa are native to Asia. That is most certainly true. Let's look at these. No, they needed agriculture to survive, not just rivers and lakes. Nothing about the plants are difficult to domesticate. No. And also nothing about the communities that were not large enough. They say the people who lived near the rivers and lakes lived in larger population concentrations. Doesn't mean they didn't need crops or they were too small, so that makes 1 and 4 wrong. And here, the proposed areas of domestication of African crops lie in a band that extends from Ethiopia. So often in the wrong answers, you'll see the same words, like domesticate, domestication. Doesn't mean it's right. That one is wrong. So that is the first answer. Let's go to question 2. In paragraph 1, what does the author imply about changes in the African environment during this time period? So this is a rhetorical purpose question. And now we've just read this, so let's see if we can think of something before reading it again. The climate was becoming milder. No, I remember here they said something about the drying up of what is now the Sahara Desert has pushed people. So the climate was not becoming milder. In fact, it was becoming more severe and hotter and drier. Although periods of drying forced people south, they returned once their food supply was secure. Here it says many peoples to the south, but with secure food. It doesn't say that they came back. Population growth along rivers and lakes was dramatically decreasing the availability of fish. That is an inference. That is something we will infer, but it didn't say that the fish decreased. If more people eat fish, fish are gonna decrease. The availability of fish are gonna decrease. And a region that had once supported many people was becoming a desert where few could survive. In this part, back in the beginning, the drying up of what is now the Sahara Desert had pushed many peoples to the south into sub-Saharan Africa. So that means before it wasn't a desert, now it is the Sahara Desert, but as it dried up and dried up and dried up and became hotter and drier, people had to move south. So they couldn't survive anymore. So let's choose number 4. According to paragraph 2, camels were important because they... Factual information question. We have to scan this quickly. Why were they important? Camels right here. So all this is not about camels, it's about cattle and so horses. So here's the camel. The camel's ability to thrive in harsh desert conditions and to carry large loads cheaply made it an effective and efficient means of transportation. Okay, I think I know the answer. Because they were the first domesticated animal to be introduced to Africa. Wrong. Domesticated sheep and goats and cattle and horses, they were not first. Allowed people of West African savannas to carve out large empires. I saw that somewhere. There were trade routes across the Sahara. Horses were adopted by peoples of the West African savanna, and later their powerful cavalry forces allowed them to carve out large empires. Horses, not camels, helped African peoples defend themselves against Egyptian invaders. I also saw Egyptian invaders of Egypt. Horses and chariots. Horses. So these two are related, and they're about horses, not camels. Made it cheaper and easier to cross the Sahara. Okay, let's look at this one. I know that's the correct answer because it says here, loads cheaply. They were to carry loads cheaply, made it an effective and efficient means. See, we have cheaper, cheaply, easier, efficient, effective, and efficient. So that is this, just paraphrased. Remember what I told you, synonyms. The most important thing you can learn while preparing for TOEFL or IELTS, synonyms. So I know this one is correct because often when they give you the same answer and they use different words, synonyms or paraphrasing, it is correct. If it's the same exact word, it's oftentimes wrong. Not always, but often. The word profound in the passage is closest in meaning to. So profound means something like, before I look at these, profound means something that is big and has a big impact on something. So fascinating, no, far-reaching, necessary, temporary. I would say far-reaching. That's the closest thing to a big impact because it reaches far. So the technological shift caused profound changes in the complexity. Profound, far-reaching changes. Yes, so they talk about West Africa and then the tools and West African society, so it reached very far. Profound. If you don't know this word and you can't guess the first time, then you have to read this and you will see that they talk about West African tools. Nothing about fascinating, nothing about necessary, and definitely not temporary. Temporary means only for a short time. So, vocabulary. It's very, very important to learn vocabulary while studying for these tests. Another vocabulary question. The word ritual in the passage is closest in meaning to, easy, ceremonial. I know that if you know the word ritual, you will know that it's something often used in religious activities or during ceremonies. So, ritual, ceremonial. Yes, you can see here gained ritual, gained ceremonial power, and sometimes political power. So, not permanent, no one has permanent power, not physical, and not military. Though if you don't know the word, I can see that people could guess military, but remember they talk here about made the warrior more powerful, symbolic meaning. Symbolic meaning would be as a symbol of hope or as an idol or a symbol. Like Thor's hammer has a symbolic meaning of power and thunder. Ceremonial. Let's continue. Let's not waste time, little children. According to paragraph 4, all of the following were social effects of the new metal technology in Africa, except... Okay, so we're going to have to read this. Luckily, it is not that long, but this is a negative factual information question. What do we need to answer? First, ask yourself that. All of the following were social effects of new metal technology. Social effects. Okay, access to metal tools and weapons created greater social equality. Metal weapons increased the power of warriors. Iron tools helped increase the food supply. And technical knowledge gave religious power to its holders. That is the same as the ceremonial thing we just did. Okay. Access to metal tools and weapons created greater social equality. Do they say anything about equality? Not that I can see. So let's continue to the next one. Metal weapons increase the power of warriors. I did see that. I saw that here where made the warrior more powerful in symbolic meaning. So that one is correct, which means it is not the answer. Iron tools helped increase the food supply. Iron hoes, which made the land more productive. So that created more food, right? They could farm better. That's right, so it's wrong. Technical knowledge gave religious power to its holders. Here, those who knew the secrets of making iron gained ritual and sometimes political power. So that will be religious power. The ritual, religious, ceremonial. So that means number one is wrong. Nothing about equality. This is a sentence simplification question. Which of the sentences below best expresses the essential information in the highlighted sentence in the passage? Incorrect choices change the meaning in important ways or leave out essential information. You should know this by now if the meaning is changed or if they don't give you the main idea, the most important information, it is wrong. If there are minor details, it's not important. So let's look at this and identify the keywords. Unlike in the Americas, where metallurgy was a very late and limited development, Africans had iron from a relatively early date, developing ingenious furnaces to produce the high heat needed for production, and to control the amount of air that reached the carbon and iron ore necessary for making iron. So early date furnaces control the amount of air that reached the carbon and iron ore. So the Africans were earlier than the Americans. Unlike in the I'm sorry, I'm getting so excited. Unlike in the Americas, where metallurgy was very late, Africans had already developed that. So Africans first. They created furnaces to help control the air so that they could more easily, I'm sorry, when I'm reading, I forget my grammar. So they developed furnaces that could control the air that reached the carbon and iron ore necessary for making iron. Let's see. While American iron makers developed the latest furnaces, African iron makers continued using earlier techniques. Where did they say that's an earlier technique and Americans developed it further? Nowhere. Africans produced iron much earlier than Americans, true, inventing technologically sophisticated heating systems. That could be right, because that is a technologically sophisticated heating system. So that could possibly be right. I'm going to click it, just in case. Iron making developed earlier in Africa, yes, than in the Americas because of the ready availability of carbon and iron ore. Okay, that might be true. They developed earlier. I'm not sure if it's because of the carbon and the iron ore. Here it says that a relatively early date. But this is very important about the furnaces with the amount of air. And there's nothing about the furnaces here. Here, the furnaces are heating systems. So definitely not this one. This one leaves out information. This one is wrong. Both Africa and Americas developed the capacity for making iron early, but African metallurgy developed at a slower rate. No, that is completely wrong. It doesn't say the Africans were slower. So that is the answer. Let's continue. Paragraph 6 mentions all of the following as possible causes of the Bantu explosion, except another negative factual information question. That is quite rare that we have two of these, but let's see. And this is a longer paragraph which you have to read completely. Let's look here first. Superior weapons, better hunting skills, peaceful migration, or increased population. So we have to make sure all of the following as possible causes of the Bantu explosion. So what caused the Bantu explosion? Which of these? Right, let's look at this. Superior weapons. I saw that here because they believe that their iron weapons allowed them to conquer their hunting, gathering opponents. So they had more weapons and were like, yeah, we're ready to go. We can attack anyone who comes close to us. So that is true. Better hunting skills. They say your conquer their hunting, gathering opponents. So they're talking about the weapons, not about the hunting. So I think that one is not here. Peaceful migration, I saw that. And peaceful migration or simply rapid demographic growth may have also caused the Bantu explosion. So that said, increased population. I saw this here. Their migration may have been set in motion by an increase in population. So yes, definitely they don't say anything about hunting. Don't let the hunting gathering confuse you because the next word is opponents, which is the most important word here. That means weapons. Next question. Insert text question. Look at the four squares that indicate where the following sentence can be added to the passage. These people had a significant linguistic impact on the continent as well. So let's look at this. Significant means important or something that made a big change. Significant impact is a big change, and linguistic means related to language. So if we want to do this, we have to read the sentence here. Right, before I even continue, I see here they spoke a language, and I just said linguistics relates to language. So I think it will be here. I'm just going to click that and let's see how it looks. So when you click on this in the actual text, it will add the sentence to that part and you can read it. Caused by movement of peoples fleeing the desiccation or drying up of the Sahara. These people had a significant linguistic impact on the continent as well. They spoke a language. It seems to really fit in nicely here, but let's look at the next one. Then to conquer their hunting. So we talk about hunting and stone implements and then language? No. So the process of uncertain, peaceful migration, demographic growth, Bantu explosion, and then talk about the language? It does not make sense. So the word here linguistic and the word here language makes it very obvious that it's here. We're lucky today because this one's a very easy one to add. Because of that, it's not always so easy. This one was quite easy. If you don't know how I get these answers, please leave a comment and I can explain further. So don't worry about that. We have one more question. Is it going to be fill in the table or is it going to be prose summary? Prose summary. So this is a multiple choice. Right, we have to choose 3 and only 2. The question is worth 2 points. We get 2 points, so let's see. So basically we have to summarize the whole reading now. Excuse me. So I've read this very quickly. You've done this too. We haven't even read all the paragraphs. So it could be difficult and you might have to go back. So then you can just review. But let's see if we can answer this based on what we've done so far. Agriculture and ironworking probably spread to Africa. African? From neighboring regions. Okay. Once Africans developed their own native crops, they no longer borrowed from other regions. I remember that's not true because there was something about later they even got bananas. Bananas! The harshness of the African climate meant that agriculture could not develop until after the introduction of iron tools. Maybe the use of livestock improved transportation and trade and allowed for new forms of political control. Not use of livestock, it was the use of tools, right? And the ironworks. So this one is definitely wrong. As the Sahara expanded, the camel gained in importance, eventually coming to have religious significance. The camel became more important because it was cheaper and easier. I don't remember anything about being religious. Nope. The spread of ironworking had far-reaching effects. Far-reaching, remember? Far-reaching, profound effects on social, economic, and political organization in Africa. Definitely true. Social, yes. Today's Bantu-speaking peoples are descended from technologically advanced people who spread throughout Africa. Yes, they are, because they invented it. The use of livestock improved transportation and trade and allowed for new forms of political control. Okay, so when they started trading livestock, right? Livestock, sheep, goats, cattle, obviously they created routes, and the routes improved transportation and new forms of political control. So definitely this one. Okay, let's hope it's correct. I think it is correct. Let's go back, or let's check. Where do I check? Exit section. No, I don't want to do that. Let's just go back and click on all the answers. Let's go back to number 1. If you do all 30, there are 30 questions, right? Then you can check your answers. But we're only doing 10 today. We're only doing one passage. So let's look. Question 1. Right. 2. So good. See, TOEFL reading is not that difficult if you just analyze it. And we've done this in under 20 minutes. So while I was speaking as well. So it's not that long. Curious about the last one. I'm 99% sure I'm right. Yes! Ta-da! Look how beautiful and orange it is. Yes. The last one. This is what I'm nervous about. I don't want to look at the screen, but let's look. Okay, it was this, the trade. If you're unsure of why I think it's this one, let's go back. I want to go to another question. Or the one about the camels. The camels. Here. Trade routes across the Sahara. Horses, chariots, people adopted Western African savanna, carve out large empires. So yes, here we talk about the livestock and the trade routes, and they were able to carve out large empires, which made it political. So that's right. Okay, so now we can exit, or we can review the questions. Oh, here we go. So when you do this, it will say correct, 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 and not answered, not answered, not answered, not answered. So yeah, we haven't done running water on Mars or ancient Rome and Greece. You can do those yourself if you want some extra practice, and I'll be making videos of them in the future. But do them before I do this. And we exit the section. Did you understand what I meant when I went through the video? So just listen and do it again if you want. You can ask me questions. I stopped purposefully after the first question so you can do them again and practice before I give you the answers. Although you can just click answers on the website. I do want to encourage you to, I didn't say that before, I should have said that. Excuse me. Do not click on the answer. Do the whole list of questions first. And remember, you can go back and change them, and then you can see how to do them perfectly. right? So just stick with me. I'm going to help you through this. I'm going to let you get that 30 out of 30 for TOEFL reading, that 120 out of 120 for TOEFL overall, which is not that hard. If you get 110, that'll be amazing. 112, 115, 117 will all be amazing. I love you. So little heart, little friends, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah.